great news this morning, mate. Run us through the emotions and how you found out of this week's Rising Star nomination.
Yeah, so got a call from Bossy, actually a text because I missed his call again. So not great, but saying hey mate, can you give me a call? So I was like, yeah, no worries, sounds good. Yeah, obviously gave him a call and found out, yeah, got the Rising Star nomination. So pretty exciting, pretty overwhelmed, but yeah, just really excited. Quite cool. Obviously, don't really look too much into the individual accolades. It's just more about team accolades and the fact that we won on the weekend. That's what means the most to me. Great day to be a part of. Obviously, it's a big game, Carlton respects. So to be able to be out there on the G with all the boys and get away with the 4 points was, yeah, just really good experience. I think that we were on from the start, especially when Charlie kicked the first two. Thought our energy and our pressure and contest just really set up the night. Obviously, it probably wasn't as consistent as we would have liked to, but the fact that we were able to bring it back in the last quarter at least, I thought was really good. Yeah, obviously second full game there. Absolutely love every bit of it there. So fingers crossed play again this week against Hawthorn and, get to go again. So, I just love being out there. It's great. I love being out there with all the boys. Obviously, Scooper, Hoff, Whitey, all those boys. Can't name all of them, but I just love playing with all of them. It's just a great experience. Obviously, being out there pre-game with Whitey, having to kick around, just thinking how good is this. So, yeah, just really excited for the next couple of weeks. Being in there every day, win, loss, draw, anything, just being able to be in this beautiful area, in this space at Carlton is just unbelievable. Obviously, everyone wants to be playing senior footy, but they put a lot of work into the Carlton reserves, done a lot of work with Luke Power, Brad Ebert, Tyrone Baker, and to be able to get a bit of reward on the weekend just feels that much better, knowing they've put a lot of hard work behind the scenes, especially in the VFL. As I said, those three names, Toz, Finger, and Ebo, been working so hard over the last however many months, throughout the whole year, just to be able to get obviously this position. But obviously now this is just the baseline, so we keep moving up from here.
Is the Rising Star nomination sick?
It's pretty sick. It is.
You don't say that anymore, do you?
Oh, yeah, I do, but not as much. I've gone pretty cool. Just try and change up a little bit.
And just finally, can you run us through the Salt Bay celebration on the weekend?
Oh yeah, so I actually wasn't really meant to do that, to be honest. So I'll just do it if I kick the goal. So, no one really understand it. I don't even know why. I just didn't know what to do. I've never celebrated before. You have to ask Charlie.
You just do that, don't you?
I'll just go, come on. But you have to ask Charlie about that. And I just did it. I was like, I don't know what to do. I might as well do that.
Well, a great day,
yeah.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Blue Abroad show here on the Blue Abroad YouTube channel. I actually didn't realize what the kids could do for the energy in the team. And I think watching that, I actually haven't seen that video from Ashton. Our latest Rising Star, I think that's a great way to start the show. Bit of positivity, bit of good energy, some fresh energy, and a kid that's excited to be there and grateful for his opportunity in a year that hasn't gone well at all. So anyway, welcome. It is Monday night. It's the 21st of July, 2025. We are here after round 19 and a win. Short turnaround before the next game. We're going to unpack a lot of things tonight. We'll talk about round 19. We'll talk about the themes and issues that came out of round 19. We'll talk about what's happening between round 19 and 20. We have a 200th game coming up. We've got a rumor about a favorite son potentially going to a rival that everyone has just fallen for, the clickbait. We've got a journo who's just digging away at the Carlton faithful, one article at a time. And we've got lots to get through. We'll talk about Thursday night as well. And yeah, I'm going to invite anybody who wants to join tonight. You're more than welcome to join the show. Bring up anything on your mind, anything at all. Pommy's in the chat, and we just had the rating show. And I don't know if we just got him in a moment, but he could be coming on Thursday night as well. So interesting. All right. Got some guests lined up. Let's begin. Let's get our first one in. His name is Dieter. Hello, sir.
G'day, Terry. How are you? Thanks for having me, and a big hello to all the Blue Abroad channel fans on tonight. Thanks for having me on.
Mate, thanks for being here. Where are you? Sounds like...
I'm out
is that a basketball?
I'm out at Bundoora. Yeah. I'm out at Bundoora, which is a large complex at La Trobe Uni, which is actually a partner of the Carlton Footy Club. And we train pre-season just behind here, but there's basketball stadium to my right. Melbourne Victory soccer team playing on my left with their junior academy. So there's plenty going on out here in Bundoora. So apologies here if you're random bouncers. That's what's going on here. But talk about energy. Lots of kids here playing sport, which is great to see.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Hey, we're here after a win. Can you believe it?
Yeah, I can, and thank God we got one. Really, I mean, some of the takeouts from Saturday night, just having a win, and when you strip it all back, it's the first one in over a month.
Yeah,
and it gets pretty hard, and we're rusted on. We're there every week. I've been a member 38 years myself. Go every week that we're in Melbourne. So just to get one again, it's just enjoyable. And I saw the smiles just come back a little bit, on some people's faces in the crowd. I'm not sure what you were seeing around you and your area, but certainly in the outer, there just was some people smiling again, particularly the kids, young boys and girls. They had all the face paint going and the numbers on their faces and all the gear. And just seeing them smiling again, I think was really reassuring. They wear it tough, particularly the kids. I still can't get out of my face that kid. I think it was a North Melbourne game where the poor fella was crying really solidly in the stands. And I know there was a bit of controversy even around showing that, but I think that's the impact that footy can have on people, both young and old. So just to see him smile again was fantastic, mate. I don't know what the reactions were around you.
Pommy was happy. I was the miserable
Yeah.
one. I got to say, the point you made about that next generation coming through. I mean, we talk about it on the field. The O'Farrells, the Cowans, the Carrolls, the Moyer, like these types, they haven't been stained with the negativity. They're grateful to be out there. They're happy to be out there, and you can see that fresh energy that they're bringing out there. But then when you look at off the field and you look at the supporter base, a lot of us here, we've all gone through, whether we've seen flags or seen spoons, and we're jaded and we're feeling whatever we're feeling. But like, it is also, there are more people than just the adults that go to the game. Like these kids that are experiencing their memories of Carlton for the first time, like it is important for them to see these experiences.
Yeah, it is. And sometimes life doesn't always work out your way, and sometimes you get upset. And that can happen in footy as well as in your life. But no, just to see them up and about was fantastic. I thought our tackling was much better. I thought our pressure when Melbourne had the ball, not necessarily around clearance work as such. I'm talking about when Melbourne had it, we sometimes applied tackles that I haven't seen as much of as this year that I would have liked. And that's when you hit someone in a tackle and actually mean it and dislodge the ball as part of that, and then we get the ball back and can counter attack. We actually sort of hurt them in the tackle. Fair, legitimate, but the tackles were actually with real intent. I can remember 3 or 4. I mean, Doc chases down. That's not a young player, Doc. He's chased a player down at a really vital moment, and then he stuck it through the middle. I know he's had his critics, and we've all got opinions, but just in that moment, you've got to enjoy what he brought and what his teammates brought. And we kicked a bit straighter for goal, and that always helps. We've not been good at that for a while, actually. We took our chances. You mentioned some of these kids and other takeouts. So there was Carroll and Cowan, Moyer, Lord, Flynn, White, Flynn Young, White, O'Farrell. They all had moments, and some of them had more than moments. I thought Carroll was really good throughout. But I think what they've brought is a new energy and a more modern style of playing just in that week. So when I look at it, we actually lost contested possession on the night. That's our one wood, so you're led to believe. And it is. It's been our one wood for a few years. We lost that, but we won on transition. That's the modern game that I see. The top sides just run so well. They've got 15 to 17 running players and then some talls, your ruckman, your fullback and your full forward.
Yeah, and we just did the ratings and we looked at who was spearheading the run-off half-back, and it was, I mean, they're both 19, 20-year-olds. So Carroll, who played a fantastic game, and so did Lockie Cowan, and don't know what the Hawks will do this week on their scouting, but they might need to have a look at some of these youngsters.
Yeah, they might. And I think we'll also do well to match them up better with some youth and some pace added to the team, because that's what they do to the opposition.
Yeah.
Hawthorn have been playing that style for a while now, and even when they were good with their three-peat, they were very neat by foot, super neat by foot, and moved the ball quickly and ran at angles and kicked at angles. Sam Mitchell was in that, and now he's coaching that. They're really good at it, and that's how they've chopped us up sort of pretty badly a few times. So I think even with some of these new players, taking the run to them and making them chase us will be good to see if we can get that going. That was again the takeout for me. The biggest one was our method. Our method was just different. I know it was Melbourne, and don't get carried away. I'm not getting carried away. It was 12th versus 13th.
Yeah.
That's the reality. I don't want to gloss over where we're at. We're not where we want to be, and not where the fans want to be, and that's disappointing. And it does hurt you. It gets you, and it can get you down. But if you can't enjoy wins and you can't be in that moment, then why go? You've got to have some upside. And having these young blokes come through the way they have, I'd love to see them back it up now a few times in the next few weeks, because really valuable matches to keep them getting senior experience.
Does this year remind you of any other year that you've seen in your 38 years as a member, or this period of time? Like, is there something you can draw on?
Unfortunately, in a way, Terry, it reminds me a lot of the last 20 years. I'm not going to say, or maybe 25, to be honest, where there's these little ups and then these dips, little ups and then these dips. So it reminds me more of that than it did of some of the preceding decades. But I think with where the list is at, I think those energetic kids will actually get more out of the senior players over the next few weeks as they also become energised and can trust their teammates a bit more. We go with the same guys for 30 plus years, and we often think we don't use our players well enough, because it almost looks sometimes that when there's a player free, if it's a younger player, we almost look hesitant to go there. Whereas most sides, when you observe them, it doesn't matter who's wearing that jumper. If it's their colour and that's the option, you go and you trust them and you move it. So it doesn't remind me of anything really outside of the last 25 years, except for the ebbs and flows. But it does give me encouragement. It gives me encouragement to see those guys who've real handful of games, some of them under 10 senior games. That can't be a bad thing. And I loved Moyer's interview there. It was free-willed. It was not scripted. It didn't sound scripted. It just sounded fresh.
He's got I don't think we've had many players with a personality like that. It seems unshakable in some, like he's got this charisma about him from a very, very young age.
He does. We were talking about it in the stands on Saturday night. He's the sort of player who actually just sort of plays better in the seniors than he does in the VFL. I don't know. That can sound a bit weird, but I think some players rarely, but some do have a knack that when they're up in class, they excel. When they're down in class, they might fall into what that lower level may bring. But he actually has been good in the VFL. But even that St Kilda game, you might recall last year when he did some moves and we thought, this kid's really got something. Now he's up in class, get a bit of confidence. He kicked 4 straight. Mm-hmm. And even the one he kicked on the full, which was an important shot in the last quarter, what he didn't do was play on like a maniac. When he took that mark, he actually had momentum to play on, you might recall.
Yep.
But he didn't. He actually did a mature thing and he went back and he sucked out the full 30 seconds. He looked at it, waited till the 1 second and started walking in like a 100-gamer. And that let us set up behind the ball. He put it on the full. Okay, it was his worst kick for the night, but he gave us 30 seconds off the clock and we were all reset, ready to bounce back. He didn't play on. And bless him, Charlie, I reckon would have probably still played on.
Yeah.
In that moment after, so long. So I just liked seeing some of that he brought to. He was using his brain.
Well, Charlie had a similar lesson. It's almost like he had to learn it. He wheeled around earlier in the game, didn't make the distance, and then in the fourth quarter, late in the game, he had no choice but to take the 30 seconds. And it's amazing how when you just go back and go through your routine. I mean, he's good enough to kick a goal from a set shot from 50 odd out. It's almost like the footy universe was teaching him the lesson.
Yeah.
Wheel pick your spots when you wheel around.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just got to go back and get the basics done.
Yeah, and what a kick, right? It starts it at the right post. It feeds in at an important time, and that's what you rely on your tall forwards to provide, those really critical moments. And he did. He took his 30 as well and pumped it. And that's just what you need at those times to get the job done. And I was so thankful we got it done. It was a relief. It was a bit of fun, and a bit of a reward, I think, also for the fans who turn out to the stadium, bitterly cold night with pouring rain just not long before. You could easily have said, nah, I'm staying home watching it on telly, but also to the fans that can't make it, folks that are interstate, overseas, watching it on the telly. Some can't afford pay-per-view, subscription telly. They're listening on the radio. Tribute to all of them who give their time, whatever channel, whatever method, to watch us or listen to us. They deserve it. It's for the fans at the end of the day. All of this is for the fans at the end of the day. And they got some nourishment at it. Thank goodness.
It's by the fans, for the fans.
It has to be. Some of the best clubs in the world, mate. Yeah, it's some of the best clubs in the world, and I'm sure your viewers on BA tonight know who they are in different codes and different sports. They live by it. Everything is for the fan. That's the purpose of the entire joint. And the rest is tactics and game plan and recruitment and running the business and all that stuff. But it's a club, and it's only ever built by the fans that are there, because without them, you don't have a market, you don't have a game. So it was just nice to actually be nourished and have all them have a smile for once. It's been a while, mate.
Yes. Thursday night, early thoughts?
Yeah, look, I get a bit worried when we play the Hawks, and I think that's just scar tissue. I think a lot of us have seen the Hawks do us in a lot in the last 15, 20 years and do us in with margin and intent. They've been a team that's actually bullied us over the journey, physically, right through the first rebuild, the Gibbses, the Murphys, the Cruisers, that they would, Simo, I remember them physically running through all four of those on different occasions. Murph ended up with a collision with Hodge in hospital. Simo got absolutely barreled one night at the Telstra Dome, what it was then, or Marvel Stadium now. That's how they go, and they're a bit ruthless like that. So my thoughts are, I want to see us match them with physical aggression as well and intent. So if one of them goes us, I want to see 5 of ours grab that shirt and start tugging on it and mean it. I think that should be inherent when someone has a go at you, especially if they have a go at a kid. What's more,
I
still think we're a bit passive.
Yeah,
Even against Collingwood, quickly, Tez. We all talk about Pendlebury and what a masterclass he is, and mate, this guy is unbelievable. As much as he's unbelievable, but I still saw him go up to Moyer when Moyer missed, and he gave him one. Scott Pendlebury gave him one, gave the kid one. That's a mindset. I think we need to be ready for that mindset and react to that and say, I don't care about the scoreboard. You cannot hassle a kid like that when he's missed. That's not going to be tolerable for us on the field tonight.
Yeah.
Not tolerable.
Yeah, you want to feel a family. I mean, this is a family club, I think,
It is.
in its roots.
At its core.
Yeah.
And I think the fans would love to see genuine acts of backing your teammate up rather than a bit of push and shove at halftime or something like that. They've got to read. You got to make your judgments in moments. And Frankie Evans, mate, seriously, how courageous was that?
Yeah.
How courageous was the bloke? People knock him, okay, you can have your opinion. But he put his head over that, and he knew May was there. He knew.
Yep.
And he knew he was going to cop it.
Well, it's interesting because he's a guy that is, I think, maybe not so much on the inside. I don't know, but it would seem from the outside looking in, he's looked like a bit of an outsider. He hasn't been there for too long. He's the new guy. He's out of contract. He's maybe playing for a spot, and you could forgive him for not putting his head in the hole there. So I do wonder how that gets responded to on the inside. Yeah,
you'd have to think massively. I think Voss even mentioned him after the game for the courage. I mean, his nose was all over his face. I think I might have heard he's lost a tooth
Yeah,
as well.
yeah. In the footage, out it went.
Oh God, yeah. It's a horrible impact. You just don't want to see it. But a Carlton player put his head over the footy and ran into the oncoming without regard for his own personal safety, but to get to the ball first to score.
Yeah.
And he spilt some serious blood and some teeth doing it. And I just take my hat off to people who do that. You can't ask for more than that. 2 hours a week they're out there. You want to see them give their all? That's what it takes sometimes in the crunch moments. And I hope he's feeling better and gets well soon, because it was a pretty nasty knock. But by geez, he did not pull out, and the fans where I sat love him for it.
Yeah, I earned my
Take your
respect
hat off
on
to that.
Absolutely.
And he comes from Port Adelaide, a team that they always go in, when one of theirs is under pressure. They swarm in and pull jumpers. They don't tolerate it.
Yeah. What's on your mind for the rest of the year now? What's priority for you?
Don't waste a game. Never waste a moment. Don't wish the end of the season is my priority. Okay, we're not playing finals, and that stinks. Not happy with it. Not happy at all with that. That's for another day. Today it's about, is it 6 games left? 5 games left?
Five now.
Five. Thanks, Des. Do not waste a minute. Get set for who's going to be in the first 23 versus Richmond in round 1, 2026.
Yeah.
That would be what I'd be thinking. It's all valuable game time. So if it needs to be kids or finding the right mix between kids and established players, let's do that, with the view that there's no more Richmond round 1s like this year. We don't need to go over this again. All right, 41 up, whatever. No, that's not acceptable. That has to be a W. It just does. And no disrespect to Richmond, they've been great in past years, but that has to be a W. What's our best combination to deliver that in round 1 to be 1-0, not 0-4? That's what I'm thinking.
You put the lessons into the kids in the next 5 weeks, so that way, and then, hopefully a healthy full preseason to at least, I mean, it's a dream, but to get a full preseason into 85% of the list is, like, it's going to be the difference. There's so many players this year that have, I mean, Charlie comes to mind straight away, barely had a preseason, and it just makes a difference. It just does.
Yeah.
So
things can turn around quicker than what you think. I don't always think you've got to go into millions of rebuilds. I think you've just got to have a focus and a reason and purpose for going out every week, and things happen. And you get yourself in position to win games. Mate, in that third quarter, we could have folded again. How many times have we seen it?
Yeah.
I thought, oh, God. I think we all thought 4 in a row, Melbourne. Really?
Definitely
Again? Did. Really? It took 4 minutes. It was 4.5 minutes of game time.
Yeah.
And they were in front. But we got back. Love to see more of that, especially against the Hawks.
Mm-hmm.
If they get a hold of us, fight back. Get in there. So don't waste it. Don't waste it. It's valuable time, mate. Senior football, only 22 rounds a year, mate. 44 hours. Don't waste it.
Yeah. Love it. Love your insights. Thanks for what you do.
Thanks for having me, mate.
We'll chat to you soon.
Pleasure. Love your program, the channel, and all the people who watch. It's a great family. Well done.
Thanks, Dieter. You have a good night.
You too, mate. See you, Tess.
That was great. Hello, Sean.
Terry, thanks for having me back.
Mate, thanks for coming back.
No, look, my pleasure. And I think Dieter put it very aptly when he said how quickly things can change. Sitting on the train on the way home from work today, I was just reflecting on the result from Saturday and thinking, well, look, if you back in January had said round 19, 2025, we've got a win over Melbourne by 8 points, I'd take that. I'd say, well, look, on that Monday, I'd walk to work, I'd have a spring in my step, I'd be happy as Larry, and I'd say all is well in the world because Carlton's had a successful result on the weekend. But instead, I felt a bit hollow, a bit deflated. I've never, and just talking to my wife before, I said I've never felt as unenthusiastic about a win as I felt on the weekend. But again, as as Dita said, how quickly things can change. So when you were starting up the show and you showed Ashton Moyer's little kind of vox pop from the football club, and what I found quite contagious was his joy, his clear joy for playing football, which I think was refreshing to see. And I don't think we get to see that kind of level of insight on how the players are and how they're feeling. And we can sit back and we can imagine, and we think, well, shit, it must be a pretty toxic and challenging environment at the moment. You're hearing all kinds of commentary around the membership and the nature of the membership and the way in which some of our brothers and sisters are going about giving effect to their passion for the football club. And you think, geez, turning up to work mustn't be fun, but it's certainly encouraging to see Ashton, to see him enjoying his football. And admittedly, I know he copped a bit of flack after the Lions game for not kicking straight, for missing a few shots on goal, but he looked ready to arrive. He looked ready, and I think once it came together in terms of his kicking, it was clear that he was going to announce his presence. And sure enough, here we are with him as a round 19 rising star, which is certainly well deserved. But again, going back to how quickly things can change, hearing Dieter's enthusiasm, hearing him scream out across the basketball centre, there's probably a few people at training who turned around and thought, "Who's that maniac yelling?" And sure enough, it's Dieter with his contagious passion and enthusiasm for the football club. And that was uplifting as well. And so although a lot's changed, I think, in the course of the last 6 months, we're not where we hoped we were. We're not with the players, the squad that took us to the highs in 2023. I think we're getting to the point where we're forced to let go. We realise it's not going to be that list which is going to get us to Premiership number 17. And that, I think, is part of why I'm feeling that loss, because I think, well, we're starting to blood the young players. We're starting to get game time into them. We're starting to focus on not winning, but laying the foundations for a successful 2026. And that's slightly disappointing. It's slightly disappointing because I think we'd certainly hoped that things would be different. I didn't get to the game, unfortunately. I was buggered from a day of taking my daughter to Disney on Ice on Saturday. So very valiantly manned the couch, nice and warm, and not out in the Antarctic-like weather of Melbourne at the G. But I am curious what the vibe in the crowd was. I think there was 39,000 people, which is still quite impressive when you think about the conditions and you think about where the team's at. The subsequent games are in effect dead rubbers, but it was still impressive to see 39,000 people make the effort to turn out. And as Dieter, I think, paid tribute to make that effort to turn up to support the team. What did the crowd seem like? What could you overhear? What was the general vibe across the fan base?
So I think it does depend. This question is dependent on where you were sitting. So I was sitting in the Olympic stand. I was in the President's Club function, and my observation was it was tense. It was, I mean, I can only also speak for how I was feeling. I was almost bracing for the usual story of strong start, poor third quarter, the fall away. So I think I went in with a bit of a defeatist attitude for sure. But it kind of did start erupting, I think, potentially once we got through the patch in the third quarter where we actually kicked on and got out of the hole, so to speak. But my observation was, and even in the bay around me, it was frustration, that lingering anger. It was pretty empty in the bay that I was in. And then it got emptier by the second half. A lot of people stayed behind the glass doors as opposed to coming back out to their seat. But again, that was just my bay. So it's hard to speak on behalf of everyone. Maybe those watching at home that were there, like, what was the vibe in your bay where you were sitting? Yeah. And
it's certainly interesting though, because as you described it, I think we all started to get that sense of foreboding. Oh, here we go again. Here we go with not being able to defend a lead. And then when losing the lead, here we are in not having an ability to recover the lead and to finish the game with a higher score than the other side. And, I think it was a pleasant surprise that we're able to keep that challenge at bay and to go home with the chocolates. And I suppose that's the other, it's a word that Dieter mentioned that I think is certainly it's echoing in my mind at the moment. And I start to see young players being given game time, and I see the the focus from obviously the football department to prepare those players for next year. And I start to think, shit, are we about to start another rebuild? And that very much kind of coincides with that rhythm or that cycle of the club of the ups and downs, the ups and downs, the ups and downs. And I'd like to think not though. And, in as much as we might have surprised ourselves that we can defend a lead or we can recover the loss of the lead late in the game, I'd like to think that we're not about to enter a rebuild. And I think that the problem with a rebuild is that it does give license for I won't say poor performance or underperformance, but it gives license for not succeeding. It almost manages the expectations of the supporter base and saying, look, we're going through a rebuild phase. These are always painful. Do not expect to see on-field success because it's an exercise in delayed gratification. So give us 1 or 2 years, give us a bit of license to underperform, and we'll pay that investment in year 3, 4, or 5. And that's, I think, a promise that we've been sold by the club time and time again. All the while, it's proven somewhat fruitless, and we've still found that 17th premiership to be elusive. So I hope it doesn't become a rebuild, and I hope that word almost becomes verboten within the football club, because I think clubs like Geelong, clubs like Collingwood have shown that there are other ways to either maintain or to regain success, and they don't all begin with a license to mediocrity. And as much as there was a lot of hope, and it seems as though there's a lot of hope amongst the fan base at the moment, whether it's going to be Graham Whiten delivering the club from the jaws of defeat and mediocrity, or whether it's going to be the young blood. I hope we don't become a club that trades solely on hope. I hope we don't lose sense of the need to perform and to do well. And I hope that we're able to sidestep some of the patterns and the habits of the past in embracing mediocrity through a rebuild. And I love the discussion from Dieter around Frankie Evans. And I think one of the things that the club really, really struggles with is its sense of identity and the challenge of defining what differentiates us as a football club, but also the players as a football team from other clubs. And Frankie Evans putting his head over the ball, seeing Stephen May, who's a pretty imposing character, and having, as Dieter put it, no regard for his own safety, but going for the ball and going for the contest. I think that's something that we as supporters should be talking about more. We're talking about Moyer. We should be talking more though about I think Frankie Evans' effort as being an example of what we hope to see and the values we hope to see embodied in the playing style and the level of effort and the commitment to the fans, the commitment to playing for not the club, not for a weekly salary, not for plaudits like Rising Star nominations or Brownlows, but turning up and wearing that monogram, not as a privilege, but as a duty, to give your all week in, week out. And that was certainly, I think, it was certainly, an encouraging discussion, and hopefully, we hear people talking about that kind of example more, and a little bit less about the things that they didn't like to see. I think one of the positive things to see was Curno's effort. In cricket, you might refer to a working class century or a working class 50. I think his effort was working class. It wasn't the Curno that we're accustomed to seeing. And as you pointed out earlier on, he certainly was underdone in the pre-season, and so you've got to make allowances for it. But it was good to see him adjust, and rather than wheel and kick a long bomb on goal, it was great to see him take his time later on in the game, which showed some learning and some adaptation, and even to coach the forward 50 entry style to some of his teammates when it seemed as though despite the talk, despite the fact that it has clearly not worked to any kind of decent or positive effect, the long bomb inside 50 still held primacy for a good portion of the first quarter. It was good to see, I think, Charlie give a bit of coaching to some of his teammates.
Well, I think the other symbolic moment for Charlie, and this is just going to be Charlie for the rest of his career now, because he's not the young kid that needs a senior guy ahead of him to sort of coach him how to play. Maybe he still does, but the way he showed excitement and a keen intention to get Flynn Young that shot on goal. And then Flynn Young kicks the goal, and the way he celebrated with him, like, again, it's all around energy creation now. It's all around passing the baton on of trust to new people. We've quickly gone away from a big, a host of players. You're talking, Fisher, Dow, O'Brien, Petrevsky, Seaton, and then it's gone, Marchbank, Cunningham, Kennedy. Like, we've, in the space of 2 to 3 years, that's gone, and this new wave has really quickly emerged. We've got 7 or 8 players on Saturday night who have played less than 50 games. So to see Charlie now step into this role, I think it'll be good for him. And I think the quicker that we can get the games into this group and have the trust developed, the better this team will be.
And it's interesting hearing you talk about the change in Charlie's demeanour to other players, and what you're describing almost sounds like leadership, which is certainly encouraging. Though it's encouraging in one sense, it's also a little bit mystifying, given that Charlie is part of our leadership group and one of the co-vice captains, and that you think, was that an appointment that was made perhaps in recognition of his innate abilities, if not his actual performance? Are we now starting to see him emerge in more of a leadership capacity? If that is the case, that would be great to see, because I think, not forgetting, they're all young blokes still, so they've still got lessons to learn and wisdom to gain. But it would be a very, I think, exciting part or chapter in Charlie's career to see him mature and to take on that leadership mantle with a little bit more intent than he might have previously, because he is now a role model. He's no longer the temperamental prima donna forward type. He's someone who has to play a part and to play to that leadership role.
Yeah. Did you catch the Andrew Russell podcast comments over the week?
Yeah, it's look, I thought he did. He played it a bit safe at the end when he spoke about the outside influences and the toll, the need to service the various stakeholders across the club, so the coterie groups, the sponsors, etc., etc. When the question was put to him, what needs to change, he did give off a bit of a safe answer. I liked the competitive spirit of his criticism of cheering off the team after they lost a prelim, but I also thought it was exceptionally unfair, in that the power brokers in the club might have it that success is the elixir for all of the ills with the club. So you've got a supporter base who are restless, who are in some isolated instances, and we'll come back to this in a moment because there's something I do want to say about recent commentary on this. But supporters are starting to vent their frustration in less than constructive ways. So the artist who left his message to the board on the walls of Princess Park being one example. And I think there's a view that success and premierships is puts paid to all of that toxic behaviour or that non-constructive outlet. But I don't think it needs to be that binary. And I, like many, and I think you're on that side of the ground, I stood there and I cheered the boys off after they lost to Brisbane, after being up the better part of 5 goals at quarter time, where we thought, Jesus Christ, we're going to get through to a grand final here. We cheered them off not because we embraced losing. We cheered them off because that run after the bye that led to the prelim, that finals campaign, where even Andrew Russell himself said he'd never heard the MCG as electrified as it was when Carlton scraped across the line against Melbourne to get into the prelim. It was a mark of gratitude for, I think, playing the game and showing the dedication that we want to see in our football club, by effectively representing us, by demonstrating the passion and the enjoyment and the commitment that we all bring to the football, by following Carlton, by talking about it outside of hours, by turning up to cold, weathery MCGs on a Saturday to cheer them in a dead rubber. We saw ourselves reflected in that group. So I think Andrew Russell probably showed why he might not have been a Carlton person, as we'd describe one, in that I think Carlton people were quite satisfied and were quite happy to cheer the boys off for what was a remarkable effort, if not an ultimately successful one. But I touched on before the commentary around the supporter base, and I do really want I do want to talk about this a little bit more because it seems to have been swept under the carpet over the course of the past couple of weeks. But a fortnight ago, we saw Michael Voss quite explicitly and unambiguously tell us that if we were inclined to make death threats against our coach or things along that line, then Carlton wasn't a place for us. And sure enough, it wasn't, because it turns out Collingwood was the place for people with that particular approach. There was an imputation, although neither Voss nor anyone else at the club named a Carlton supporter. There was a strong imputation that it was a Carlton supporter who was responsible for that. And it was used as part of this broader pylon that was certainly, I think, at the least encouraged by the club, and then whipped up into a media frenzy around the kind of the feral, toxic nature of Carlton members and supporters. And sure enough, that turned out to be wrong. It wasn't an example of what Carlton people, at least in this instance, were doing. Yet that has remained uncorrected. That was a blight, I think, against the membership. And the membership or the supporters, they're not bystanders, they're not stakeholders. They have the unique status of being both shareholders and customers simultaneously. As Dieter pointed out, they should be central to what the club does, and everything the club does, both on field and off, should be to serve the interests of the membership. The club doesn't exist for its own benefit; it exists for the benefits of people who love it and people who pay their annual membership dues if they can afford to. And I don't think it's right that's left to stand as it is. I think the club does need to come out and to say, look, we made suggestions. We certainly didn't defend the supporters, but we, at least in an implicit way, we encouraged this view that it was you who were responsible. We were wrong, and we're glad that we're wrong. It's still not a form of behaviour that we will condone, but in as much as we suggested that it was you, blue baggers, we were wrong, and we're sorry for doing that.
Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah, I totally agree. And I picked up on it pretty quickly once we got to game day of that week, and it felt like it was weaponized, and it was like an opportunity to use the narrative to get another narrative out there that they were trying to preach. It's not going to help the situation because we've already had to deal with an expectation of top four. Fairly or unfairly by the fans, but also the CEO did come out this year and say that top four was the expectation. We have to be getting a home qualifying final, a home final. And then to quickly have to be fluid enough to say, okay, actually, we might be talking rebuild. So, there's going to be spillover. And yeah, that's really important moving forward to get that right.
I think it is, and there certainly is there's a trust deficit that exists between the supporter base and the club at the moment, and that most recent example does very little to bridge that gulf and that sense of us and them. And I think increasingly the credibility of the leadership of the club starts to be brought into doubt when it's almost Monty Python-esque in its level of absurdism, in the sense that if you look at our 5-year strategic plan, which has premierships by 2027, increasingly the pathway from where we are to where we want to be is becoming less viable, less credible, and less clear. And we're getting this kind of exercise in double speak or omission or just motherhood statements, this kind of almost political kind of wordsmithing or meaningless, empty kind of statements from the club that don't give us any certainty. They don't give us any clarity, and they certainly don't give us any confidence, I think, in what's happening and where we go to from here. And so the club certainly has its work cut out for it. And I think you're right. I think it was opportunistic. It was seen as a way to maybe take some of the heat out of the criticism of the club by attacking the people who are criticizing it, and to lumping them all with this kind of group of unhinged lunatics who take things way too seriously and can't be reasoned with and can't be reasonable. But I think ultimately, as a member and a supporter, I felt treated with contempt. And the fact that they haven't followed up and they haven't addressed it, I get the sense that there's this attitude of either A, they'll forget about it because they've got the memory of goldfish, all these troglodytes who drag their knuckles to the game and sit with the common folk, or stuff them. Who cares what they think? Because because they are something to be managed. They are something to be tolerated at best, but they're certainly not the purpose of why we turn up. So that sense is worrying, because it seems completely opposed and misaligned with what I think people like Dieter, who put it well. We are the club, the members, the supporters, the fan base are its reason for existing, and without those people, you have no football club.
Yeah, no, well said. Thursday night, we have another milestone game. It's crazy to say it. Like, Jacob Wiedering is about to play his 200th game. I'll ask you, and I'll ask those of you watching at home, what comes to mind? What is the memory of Jacob Wiedering that comes to mind as we approach his 200th game?
Yeah, I'll probably say two things, Terry. So I think that the one thing, and this year's been a little bit of an outlier for Wieders, because he's lacked a bit of form, and that's not something we've certainly come to expect of Jacob. And the one thing that always stood out about his performances were the consistency. And so when we didn't necessarily have an equality of strength across our back line, he was always a kind of a force for stability, a clear-headed director, kind of directing traffic and organising our defence, and always very reliable in a contest. But what I'd like to say about Jacob Wiedering, though, is that I think I hope at least that our best memories of him are yet to come. And I remember him being interviewed when he would have been under 50 games at this point. And it was a replay of a media bit that he did, I think, not long after he was appointed to the club. So not long after he was recruited. And he was articulate, he was composed, he was measured. He was clearly a very intelligent young man, and he was touted at the time as being a future leader, if not a captain of the club. And I think that's something that still very, very much remains within his horizon. I might venture a little bit of a controversial view in that whilst I love Cripps as a player, I love his playing style. I think we probably do have reasons to doubt his capacity as a captain. And I don't mean through a failure to lead through example in his commitment, his physicality, and his effort. But I wonder whether or not he has some of the other makings which you need to have as a leader. And if we look at the club, if we look at the players on the field and we think they're lacking connection, they're lacking commitment, they're lacking drive and motivation, then you have to question your leadership. And so if we are, I won't say rebuild because I rubbished that word earlier on, but if we're about to start another phase of evolution in the club, I think we need to start looking at the on-field leadership. And I think certainly Jacob Wiedering is someone that we could be looking to as a future captain of the club. So there's a very long-winded answer to your short-winded question, Terry. But
no, that's okay.
I do hope with Wieders that the best is still to come, mate.
There's a comment here. I agree. Blue Bagger says, I could listen to this guest all night. I could also listen to you talk. My memory of Wiedering, the one that sticks out to me, I don't know if many people, well, no one's written it in the comments so far, but so I don't remember what year it was. It might have been 16 or 17. We played Melbourne at the MCG, and Jordan Lewis king hit Patrick Cripps. And Wiedering, we actually spoke earlier around like remonstration. The way Wiedering remonstrated with Jordan Lewis on that day, I'll actually never forget it. I was sitting behind the goals. I don't know. I guess I was in the cheer squad, or maybe the bay next to the cheer squad, but I was right there behind the goals. And it happened on the end that happened to me. The incident happened on the end that I was. And I just never forget the way he approached with the care factor, the way he approached Jordan Lewis to remonstrate. He really got into his back. And I don't know, from that moment, I was sold on his leadership. He was so young.
Yeah, and it makes you wonder, doesn't it? It makes you wonder what the club does to that spirit, and certainly, I think more recently the thing that probably stood out the most to me was his public commentary about the club's or the team's mental and physical toughness, and I think that took moral courage, because it's easier to get up and to give off the the kind of the political talking points, and to talk about, you know, what's us and what's not us, and talk about bodies and work and all that kind of nonsense. But I think it takes a certain degree of intestinal fortitude to call things out, and to hold your teammates to account, because it's usually easier to not be the voice of I suppose, critical feedback or constructive criticism. It's easy enough to just not care enough and worry about yourself, and to not engage in that effort. And so hopefully whatever is at play in terms of the internal workings of the club and the dynamics, and whatever might hang over people's head, hopefully it hasn't been enough to snuff out that kind of killer instinct and leadership instincts of Jacob Wiedering. But we'll see.
Mate, it has been a pleasure. Thank you so much for joining
pleasure's all
tonight.
mine, Terry. Thanks for having me, mate. Have a good night.
You too, mate. Go Blues.
Go Blues.
That was great. That was fantastic. Got a couple more. We're approaching 8, but I'm kind of feeling good. If anybody else wants to join, you can join the queue right here. Aiden.
What's up, Tez? What's going on?
Man, I'm good. Just enjoying a win while it's here, man. You don't know when the next one will be.
Yep, that's true. That's true.
How'd you go? How'd you go on the weekend, and how'd you go after round 19? What's on your mind?
The fact that we had 8 players under 50 games and they all stood up. I'm not going to say that our senior players didn't stand up, but I felt like the younger players took more of a step up than what our senior players did at times, and that's a huge step into the future for our young core, because I don't think we saw that under Bolton and Teague, to be honest with you.
What's that?
So,
the young
yeah, like the young players kind of stepping up in big moments, like Carroll and also Moyer as well. So I'm too young to remember.
Yeah, I mean, you got to remember, like, you know, Wiedering, Kerno, Mackay all were youngsters once upon a time, you know, so like they kind of took the mantle pretty quickly. I mean, Charlie in particular, like actually Charlie and Wieders, I reckon, pretty quickly. Like it was like, all right, pass the baton, like away they go. Before them, we had guys like, you know, Andres Everett was playing in the forward line, you know, Satanta helping towards the end of his career. Oh, I feel older now because I'm reeling off these names of these players that I don't even know if you remember them. But I get what you're saying. For me, it felt like they trusted the senior players. They almost had no choice. They trusted the younger players more. So there's that. And then there's also the fact that they took their moments and contributed.
Yeah, and I think that's a big positive as well. So development hasn't been quite good for the club over the last 20 years, but if you're seeing performances like that, it's one game. I'm not going to get too over excited, but again, as I said before, it's obviously a good sight to see for what's coming in the future, because that back six, that's our backline for the next 10 years, especially with Harry Then coming in as well. So a lot to get excited about, but again, it's just one game.
It is one game. I mean, no illusions, but I just think what I was reminded of is how important, like, you know, I mean, I get it. We're all angry, we're pissed off, and we should be pissed off because the club has failed to make the top 4, let alone make the finals and qualify. Like, it's failed in that regard. So there's always going to be room for disappointment. In fact, I think that'll be most of what happens. But pretty quickly, I've realized, I mean, you got to accept what is in order to change it. Like, you got to like see it for what it is. And then I think when I watch the youngsters play, and I think this is part of like what makes Carlton so complex. A lot of people are really disappointed and pissed off because it's like a compounding disappointment from 2 to 3 decades, right? But Ashton Moyer, like, he's got nothing to do with it. Neither does Harry O'Farrell. Neither do these, like, Matt Carroll. Like, and to be honest, neither did Jacob Wiedering or Charlie Kerno or Patrick Cripps when they got to the club as well. But they kind of get that energy from everyone, and it's whatever. You can call it a burden, you can call it a privilege, but I almost don't want to poison the youngsters again by the time
Yeah,
they're 25,
yeah,
26. So I'm trying to find the balance of, okay, how do you hold the standard and how do you also just allow the youth to come through and allow for that energy to spark up?
yeah. Because I think we can't make the same mistake with what we did with Cripps, Walsh, and all that, saying, "Oh, just wait till they're 25, 26, they're going to be this, they're going to be that." I think the fan base kind of needs to ease their pressure with some of the youngsters, like, and that's been happening over the weekend. Like, there's been a lot of people that have just relax. It's one game. You don't want to put too much pressure on them. Yeah, just let them play. That's it. Because I think I said it to you that this is like their mini preseason going
Yep.
into next season, and yeah, the last thing that you want to do is complain and get upset when they make a mistake because that's going to happen. Like I guarantee you now, this week we're not going to see Moyer kick 4 goals. No way. Like there'll be times where he has his opportunities where he misses them. Like they're going to be inconsistent. So I just think that just need to let them, yeah, just be patient with them. Just let them develop because they're young. They're 19, 20. As I said, we had 8 players play under 50 games. So yeah, I think we just need to be a bit more patient with them because with Wiedering, Kerner, and even Mackay, we think we relied on them too much when they were young, and the pressure built up to them a lot back then. So yeah, that's what yeah mainly have to say about obviously our youth, but yeah,
Yeah.
it's a good side.
What else happened throughout the week that caught your attention? So we've had Andrew Russell's interview, we've had the Jack Silvani article today that's just gotten everyone up in arms about it, like the idea of a Silvani wearing Collingwood stripes. What else have we had? Weeders' 200th. Like, what's top of mind for you? Or Hawthorn this week?
So probably, well, firstly, Silvani, he's not going to Collingwood. That is just clickbait. That's bullshit. I do not believe that at all. But yeah, it's interesting with Wiedering because I think he's 2/3 into his career now, and yeah,
Yeah,
it's gone really, really quickly.
man.
Um,
How old is he? He's
27.
27. I'm gonna say he's 27. Where is he? Jacob Wiedering. He's 27, born on the 23rd of November, so he'll be 28 end of the year. It's bizarre, right? I don't know. Like, I mean, I remember absolutely every game of his career. Not remember. I've watched every single game of his career. I mean, you have as well. He's got 300 gamer written all over him, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. Yeah, touch wood. Yeah,
Yes,
nothing
of
bad
course.
happens for him.
With
But
health.
yeah, because he's one of our, if not our most important players. Because when he's not there, we struggle a lot. But I mean, there comes to a point that like, when do they like? Because I don't want to like knock Harry, but Harry's comments started preseason, and obviously Wiedering and Harry and all that. They come towards the end of their careers now, and my question is because Harry said like no rush into a flag, and that probably got taken out of context for a little bit. So I feel like they need to kind of have a little bit more of a rushness to get to that milestone because by the time you know it, they're going to be gone. And how do they want to be remembered? That's the thing.
Yeah.
Because
And I think there's a bit of work there to be done over the off season with the language and like
yeah,
speaking Carlton language. Like what is Carlton language? I think we have there's so many different types of supporters that show up, speak in different ways, essentially kind of say the same thing. If you really think about it, everyone is saying this, like everyone is wanting the same thing, I think, for the most part. We just say it and go about it in a different way. So my big question around the offseason is how do we unify the language? Like how do we unify the identity of getting back to the thing that actually binds us together in this weird, wacky, complex world that we live in is the footy club. And I think that's a big challenge.
yeah. Because at the start of the year, like when you've got Harry's comments and then you've got obviously Weeder's comments a couple of weeks ago and Doherty as well saying that, oh, we haven't been playing like that bad. Like it's just been the last 4 weeks. Like, yeah, I feel like as you mentioned, like there needs to be an improvement on the language because I can't remember the last time any of them said that we want to win a flag this
No,
season.
that's not true. No, that's not true. Charlie said it in his preview. He said we have to win a flag.
Did
Don't you
did
remember?
yeah.
Yeah,
Was
no,
that
no, no. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, he said he did the Herald Sun spread. He's like, we simply have to do it.
yeah,
Is what he said.
but when?
As in, this group have to do it.
Yeah, yeah,
I mean, it can only when he says this group. I mean, he's 28. Yeah, so
yeah, yeah, yeah,
So-
yeah. I understand. Yeah, but again, they come into the latter parts of their career, and I think with Graham Wright coming in, and apparently Jimmy Bartell might come in from
Yeah.
what I saw. If that happens, then got good footy people in there. You got a champion in there, and obviously there'll be a region. There will be a new coaches and everything come next season. That could probably change the mindset of the whole entire group, and who knows? Maybe if it's next year or the year after, they could,
We'll
make a
see.
huge step in for some success. So, yeah,
Thursday night, you going?
yeah. Of course, I'm going.
Predictions?
Oh, I mean, I don't want to say it'll be a tough ask, but I feel like they will kind of get it done. But again, if we do put in effort and if we can stay with them, I'd be content. Like I don't want us to get thumped. So yeah, I feel
Fair.
like Again, I'm the one thing that I'm going to the games for the one reason as to why I'm going to the games this year is to see our youth. That's it, and to see what they can do, what they can produce. So yeah,
Okay.
and you don't want to lose every game, obviously. Like I'm not saying, oh, we're going to lose every single game,
No,
but
man. Build winning
like,
habits. Build a winning culture right now. Start now.
yeah, because with Wiedering, Kerner, and Mackay, they rarely saw any wins in their first few years, and
Yeah.
you need to start building wins into our youth. So create a winning culture.
All right,
So,
mate. We'll
Yeah.
speak to you on Thursday, I reckon.
Yep, you sure will.
Go Blues.
See-
Paul,
Hey, Terry, how are you?
welcome to Melbourne, mate.
Yeah, look, thank you. What a pleasure it is to be watching your show in the right time zone at the right time. Finally.
Well, yeah. What's your wait? When did you get to Melbourne?
Yesterday lunchtime.
Okay.
Yesterday lunchtime, and the day was brilliant because we got straight off the plane. We got an Uber straight back to the hotel, and this was about 1:30. And I said to my wife, "We're going straight to the G because we're going to see Freo do over the Pies." And what happened? Wow, that was just brilliant.
Hey, man.
Right to the wire, and they won. I
Be
was so
careful,
pleased.
because if we win on Thursday night and you are here for that, and we somehow beat the Hawks, I think we might have to, I don't know, crowdfund fees for you to stick around a little longer.
Oh yeah, look, I'm up for that. Yeah, let's get it done. I'll stay to the end of the season.
No, it's cool. Yeah. And I know I've said this to you before, but I really mean it. You really have become a subplot into the year, given what the on-field's been. You've become like a real subplot for us. The fact that you're actually in Australia is just mind-blowing to me after finding the game. And I mean, you're here for the British Lions too. So
Yeah, here for the Lions. Got another game tomorrow night at Marvel.
Yep.
But yeah, look, absolutely massive week for me here. Buzzing for Thursday. Really, really pleased with that our youngsters did the job, got over the line at the weekend.
Yep.
I think it's been the only game that I've not been able to see either live or a rerun this season. But I've seen all the highlights, and yeah, absolutely brilliant. Really good. You know, I've believed, and I've been saying on your show for ages, give the youngsters a chance, let them let them be free to express themselves, and let them make mistakes. Give them games. Get the, if they're the future of this club, give them games now. We've got nothing to lose, nothing to play for. Give them game time to the end of the season, and that's what happened. And it might not happen on Thursday. It bloody better happen on Thursday for me. But so what? We move on to the next game. I'll just have to stay another week. Hey.
Yeah, well, that's right. No, well, I think we've almost been forced to take the leap of faith and just trust them. And something magical can happen when you trust the next generation, not only on a sporting team, but I think it actually extends to the world as well. I mean, when you're young, you're not as poisoned by the pain of life. Life can be tough.
Yeah,
Footy can be tough.
Yeah. It's given, I can see it. It's given everybody, you included, a lift, and it's great to see. And this club needed a lift really badly, and it's great. And let's hope we can just continue. There's going to be some downers, but if the youngsters can really get grounded this season, then wow, we've got a lot to look forward to. The future's going to be good. Believe in it.
Absolutely. I saw your text. That will be fine. We'll be able to leave in time. So we will take you to the club on Wednesday and roll you around in the morning, and then Thursday, it's going to be an interesting experience. We may actually be joined by another Pommy, and that is Pommy.
Oh wow.
He may have decided tonight that he's coming on Thursday. I think he just needs to get the tick of approval from Mrs. Pom, but he may be joining us as well. So that'll be special.
Well, wouldn't that be something, eh? That would be brilliant.
Yeah.
You're going to be the odd one out, eh?
I will be. I will happily let the two of you just bounce off each other. Yeah. No, mate, it's been awesome. Welcome to Australia. Welcome to Melbourne. And I look forward to showing you around Carlton.
Brilliant. Really buzzing. Really looking forward to it. Yeah, look, have a great evening. And thanks to everybody for all your kind messages out there as well. I really do appreciate it. Loving this. Go Blues. It's a massive week for me. Thank you.
Love it. Thanks, Paul. See you, mate.
See you soon. Bye.
So good. So good. There's been a bit of talk this week around a young fella. I mean, this is looking into the future. And that's Harry Dean's game. So what I want to do is I want to play some highlights because I haven't actually watched any of this kid at all. Got one more guest here, and then we might play some highlights here from this game that Harry Dean had. Kelly's back. Hello, mate.
G'day, how's it going, Tez?
Mate, good. First question off the bat. How's the dog? Is the dog okay?
Yes. I know. I did message you about that earlier, and yeah, he's doing okay. Yeah, he's had his furball cough for quite a while, so it doesn't worry me that much. That's probably why the other day when I was online, I wasn't looking concerned about it.
No, that's okay. I was also just trying to figure out what the noise was, and anyway, it is what it is. Cal, talk to me, mate. What's on your mind about the Blues?
Anyway, Paul's a legend. I'd just like to say that first up. I'm quite happy with saying I didn't call the other night. I'm quite happy about our win, but only being against Melbourne, still it's good though. And that tackle of Doherty's, it was great. Wow.
Yeah. It was an important moment. You just never know. I think with a guy like Doc, just not sure how many more times we're going to watch him play, and we'll miss him.
Yeah, exactly.
It usually happens. The frustration comes, and performances dip, and Doc's
that's sure true. Yeah, but I'm having a bit of about my email earlier. I think I'm not as big a talker as all these other people that you've had on already, so maybe Yeah, maybe I'll have to have a bit of a rethink. But hey, that's no issue. Anyway,
Yeah,
coming.
no worries.
Anyway,
You're going.
congratulations to Jacob for 200 on the week on Thursday night. So that'll be good. I hope he plays well. And
What's your
yeah,
favorite memory of Jacob Wiedering?
oh yeah. Well, look, hey, I guess it's the consistency he's had, and just you know his leadership skills, and like previous calls, yeah, I guess like all of that stuff.
Fair,
hmm
mate. Thursday night, we will see you around. We'll do game day stream. We'll do fan cams. We might catch you then.
Yep. I'll try and call up for both.
Sounds good, mate. Also, what is your dog's name?
Oh, my dog's name is Dozer.
Dozer.
Yep.
Love it. Love it. We'll send our love to Dozer as well.
Oh, thank you kindly. I'm sure he'll take it.
All right, good on you, Cal. Thanks, mate.
All right, Tez, go Baggers.
Go Baggers, mate. Love it. What a wholesome show. That was good. All right. I want to play some Harry Dean highlights just because I haven't watched this video. And also shout out to this YouTube channel. I reached out, does God's work. Anyone that puts together highlights like this, as we have a couple. We've got Carlton Blues fans. So this is the YouTube channel. Any highlights you want to watch of any of the youngsters coming through, under 18s, he's got them all, like every single one of them, all the main games. So we used a lot of this for the draft last year. That's the YouTube channel there. But I do want to watch this video of Harry Dean's latest game before we wrap up the show, just to see what is on the horizon. Let's have a look.
About him just before, the only bottom ager out there for Vic Metro today from the Northern Knights. He's one to watch for next year's draft. He's turned it over, and here is one to watch for this year's draft. And get excited, Carlton fans. That's Harry Dean taking an intercept. And good hands and composure shown there by Kondo Giannis, but he's turned it over. And Dean with a second intercept mark. Kicks into the man on the mark, though. So let off there. Out of side. Good run from Burton, who gets the 1-2 and kicks towards half forward. McCarthy, the target. Did he give a shove away? He did. And another win back here for Dean, who started this game well.
Yeah, a couple of little moments from Metro.
Up towards half forward. Duff Tytler. Was he held without the ball? Going in hard there against Dean. Great matchup there. What a win from Duff Tytler. Just couldn't quite find his teammate via hand. Dean involved again. Short to Skapin. Hand pass. Inboard. Chipping kick over the top. Towards the advantage of Sway. Dean is there again. He's had a mighty start across half back. He intercepts and wins it back.
Directive for Metro to keep the ball moving. They don't want to slow it down. They take the mark. It's a great smother, but they take the mark and they constantly.
Co-captain so far. Burton inside 50. Elaka in front. Dean. With every game, he just impresses more and shoves away Elaka.
He's been brilliant early. Arguably the best game it was. He was the number one guy. But more recently, some others have pushed him out a little bit.
Yep. There's a kick around the body here from McCarthy. Up the chimney it goes and down. Dean was in the contest. Falls to ground level here. Able to force the ball to ground level here. Bumped off it though by Dean. Swade applies the pressure. Did well not to give away the free kick, but Dean involved. And with composure, spots up Dersma. Fincher for Vic Metro. And they get away with one there to Vic Metro. So another one tied to the Blues. Pick up, has pressure from behind from Armstrong. It did well. Hibbins, Hargraves, Dean, Russell. They specifically talked to former coaches. You've heard John Longmire and Adam Simpson this year talking about the launch pad from that 70 to 50 metres out, going inside 50 and how important that is. It's all well and good to get repeat stoppages, but if you can't hit the launch pad kick, it's not much use. He's going to be doing the ruck work here against Harding. He's had a terrific championships campaign. Greaves applying
the entries because he's just sitting off his opponent a little bit on the attacking side of the corridor. and just becoming that target.
Is that player in right who kicks inside 50, thumped away from Swade. Elaka lurking dangerously as well, but Vic Country always look pretty composed in defence. Dean has been a big reason behind that, and that's a superb kick to Byrne, who marks and step there. Back to Bammett, and now coming through is Ison, trying to swing onto his left boot. Good pressure, though, from Vic Country. Another intercept for Dean, who has been mighty today. Pounced on by Greaves, smothered by Vic Country. Well played, Cinema. Dean, able to get his hands free through the legs of Durst, able to grasp it. Good second effort from him. Excellent fist away, though, from Dean. It stopped a certain
doctors. He can barely stand. The doctors are holding him up at the moment, so not a great sign for him.
He's just backward of centre. Somehow finds its way to the hands of Atkins. Dean grabbed it in the air, then set up an attacking foray here. Inside 50, Duff Titler up high. Great combination. A good story as well. Had navicular stress fracture injury last year. He fractured his forearms in the gym in the pre-season, so he's had a nicely gathered almost there by Duff Titler. Armstrong did well just to interrupt, and then Dean, so powerful and so good at finding space and congestion. Up high to Dubberston, inside 50, guess who? Harry Dean.
Your man, Ben.
Yeah, and Carlton's man very soon, you'd think.
Very much so.
Some jets, but so does his country opponent in Williams. Grill kicks long inside 50. Dean with the intercept mark. That's him at his best.
He read it so early.
He's played a terrific game, and means that Carlton, if they want him, you just sense that they're going to have to. McCarthy showing off his athleticism. Dean applying the pressure there on ice.
I mean, that's exciting. That is exciting. That's the first I've ever watched him. What I also love about this channel, the way he puts the highlights together, he doesn't just show you only the good bits. Like, he shows you the mistakes, so you get a better picture of everything, what's working, what needs to be worked on, which I really do appreciate. So there is some interesting stuff there. We know that Cody Walker nominated over the last week, so that's the year after, and that's kind of where it's at. But Harry Dean will obviously be a big talking point in this off-season. We still got to get there. We've got 5 games to go. So that'll be fun. One final piece before we wrap up for the night. So I've got this month's giveaway for you. It's the signed 2025 Guernsey, signed by the whole team. That's going to go to a lucky member. Well, not necessarily. If you are a member of Blue Abroad, you have free entry. If you're not a member, but you just want to buy a separate entry, you can do that. You don't have to become a member. You can buy a ticket. Link is in the live chat. We'll do it. I was thinking about it on the fan cams. The next win is when we'll do it. That's a risky one because we might not win. No, I think we will. I hope we do. Anyway. That's the next giveaway. You will get emails about that coming up over the next few days. And yeah, that's us. That has been the Blue Abroad Show. Thanks to everyone who called in. Thanks to everyone who tuned in. It's great to have you here. Short turnaround. So everything is pretty crammed. Got a game on Thursday night. Preview out tomorrow. Got Footy Abroad happening. Pre-recording the Biased Footy Show. Teams on Wednesday night. And then a late one Thursday night with the fam. All right, guys, have a great night. Take care. Go Blues.